Hello, family, and welcome to the James Devotional. My name is Shay, and I'm eager to share my reflections on James chapter 1 with you. The first thing I noticed about this letter is that it is a very serious letter. James says that we are to count it all joy to suffer trials of many kinds, or to meet trials of various kinds. He doesn't say count it some joy or enough joy, but rather all joy. He is clearly talking to a wide spectrum of believers, to both the missionary who's being tortured and the student who has anxiety from exams. He also shows us what his priorities are. He considers the growth of faith in Jesus Christ to be the ultimate and most important thing in the life of a believer. Therefore, we should not hate the things that teach us to have faith, like suffering. James helps us to have an extremely powerful framework for how we are to deal with and think about suffering. He doesn't want us to love suffering, but rather recognize what our attitude should be in it. Most importantly, he wants us to see God's heart for us when we endure through suffering, which is ultimately to love him more. Later in the chapter, James says that the lowly man should boast in his exaltation and the rich man in his humiliation. James is showing us that whether we are rich or poor, God wants the same thing for all of us, to be totally dependent on a good and loving God that really does know better than we do. And he says all of this in just the first chapter. And that's what I learned from James chapter 1.